Hello and welcome. Thank yourselves because you have been pulled into the black dimension.
What's going on, people?
General, I hear you have an unusual problem.
You should talk.
You should listen. What if I told you we were putting a team together?
Who's we?
All right. This is our weekly broadcast at MCU Infinity 23. Today we will be covering The Incredible Hulk. Its original release date is June 13th, 2008. And in the continuity of the MCU, we find that it is the fourth film. So this film is starring. It is the start of being in the MCU. That was actually the end credit scene that you saw first. I think that this was a great film. It was a fun watch, and yeah, we'll see how it ranks after we have this discussion. What about you, fellas? Introduce yourselves. Tell everyone how you doing.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Wakanda Donnie. I'm here to bring the ruckus, as if it were. Roger's on the panel waiting to come up on. But hey, how y'all doing, Black Dimension?
Oh, okay, all right. Well, let me go ahead and take care of that real quick. Get Roger on here. Have him joining on the phone.
Long live the habitual line steppers. What's up, everybody? Man, I'm here to keep it real and keep it right for y'all enjoyment tonight. So let's
Okay.
get this party cracking.
Okay, yes. Like I said, we are covering The Incredible Hulk. This movie is starring Ed Norton. This is the first appearance of the Incredible Hulk in this continuity, but is not his first appearance on the big screen in the 2000 to 2010 decade. Um, the first Hulk appearance in the decade was by Eric Bana, and it was a film by Ang Lee. And it wasn't a tough act to follow, but this film already had to be better than that film right there. Just like Iron Man had to was setting had the ominous task of setting the pace for what was to become the MCU. This had to top its predecessor. So, Roger, how do you feel like that this film did as far as how it stacks up and compares to the Ang Lee Hulk film?
If you want my real opinion, the Ang Lee Hulk film don't even count in my world. It just don't. It don't stand up at all. The MCU did a hell of a job on this movie. It was much more impressive. Better script, if you ask me. Better execution. Um, it was just better on all levels, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I don't even feel right comparing those two movies together. But that's my personal opinion.
Oh, okay. And one thing that the Ang Lee movie was missing was Hulk Smash, which was a key part of the film. Now, okay, all right. So, the long-term opinion about the film itself is that people, I mean, the widespread opinion is this is not one of the better MCU films. Basically, when this film was being made, the MCU was still trying to pretty much find its way, I would say.
Right.
And I believe that's wrong myself.
Okay. So why, Donnie, why you believe is right, and then Roger, you can go why you believe is wrong.
So I think they were still negotiating contracts, going back and forth. As we've seen, it's kind of a hard thing in this day and age to negotiate contracts with other companies to get them to get on plan with Marvel's dream vision, if you will, right? So who owns Hulk? Universal. Universal. Them saying, "Hey, listen, let us make this movie the way we want to make this movie." I don't think it flew out the way they wanted to, but I think it was a very good shot at. I enjoyed this movie. But tell us why you think it wasn't Right. I think I think they did the best they could. But go ahead. What do you think otherwise, Rob?
But no, well, see, my thing is when it comes to the public perception of it, a lot of people say from a public perception, it wasn't that good because it just didn't make a whole lot of money. Number one, the MCU was new. The Hulk being advertised wasn't extremely visible that I can even remember because I didn't even know it had came out the way it had came out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a person that's totally into movies, and they kind of depended on the fact that people were already familiar with the Hulk a little too much, in my opinion. So it didn't do numbers at the box office the way they would have wanted. Now it made money, so it was a successful movie. But the way people were talking about it wasn't good. I'm like, did you watch the film? Because the film was good. You know what I'm saying? Now you could say now it's not one of the better MCU movies, and I can get that to a certain degree because you have so many more to compare it to. But you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, nah, my thing was like, this was a good movie. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? You sound kind of crazy to me if you think this movie wasn't good. This was a good movie. You don't know movies if this was a bad movie.
No, it was a great film, and I say that with no huge amount of bias, because the Hulk is my favorite superhero, and after when I mentioned the Ang Lee version of the Hulk because I was disappointed with it as a fan of the Hulk in a lot of ways that this film was able to satiate. Um, One thing that it did do was give us a believable antagonist, and it gave us Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. You know.
So I enjoyed I'm gonna be the one to say I enjoyed the first Hulk movie. I think they should have gave Ang Lee more money, and I think the only thing that stopped him from making movie greatness with that version of the Hulk was he spent too much money on the special effects, the jumping, the flying. But that was the Hulk in the way I wanted to see the Hulk. That Hulk was a non-nerfed Hulk. He was picking up, destroying. If you shot something at him and made him angry, he got bigger. He, like he was the I'm playing no games Hulk. The Hulk
Mm,
that we see ever after is a constantly getting beat up Hulk.
mm.
Shouldn't be a thing.
I mean, but that Hulk, I kind of disagree a little bit. To me, Ang Lee Hulk just looked a little bit too cuddly. I mean, like I felt like I could have won him in a fair booth with a bunch of stuffed animals. That's just me though. Yes, he was strong and he stuck to a lot of his powers, but just a lot of the story threw me off, especially using his dad as absorbing man instead of the abusive, crazy psycho he is in the comic books. But of course, some things are too dark for film. But is that there was a lot of problems that I had with the Ang Lee Ho. First of all, the use of Eric Bana. Um, but here's what
You want
both
an Arabella fan? How dare
no
you?
no 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 no. But here's what both films did try to do. I want to mention that both films did try to kind of follow the Bill Bixby origin. In the original '70s show, The Incredible Hulk, he was on a machine and he got flashed with the radiation. Now, at the beginning of this
Oh, you
particular
talking about David Banner?
yeah, David Banner, the guy that was always constantly on the road hiding from the reporter, and it wasn't a reporter in this film. It was the United States military, just like it is in the comic book. But what they did do was they had Bruce Banner sitting in a chair, just like David Banner was, and he got flashed with gamma radiation. Except the result was a much bigger, meaner, stronger CGI monster. So they did what they did with this film was they took the Banner that was in the Bill Bixby, that was in the Bill Bixby show, and put him on a larger scale. He was on the run from the military, around different places in the earth. You know,
Yeah,
he,
I mean that was the OG comic book version. He was on the run. He was constantly on the run. My thing is, I guess that's why the reason I liked Ang Lee because he was unstoppable. He yes, they did Absorbing Man in a real weird way, but aside from that, that that version of the Hulk was unstoppable. There's too many versions of the Hulk we've seen thus far where he's getting pip slapped by Thanos, where it's not even a
yes.
competition. Uh,
But
like just simple things. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Hulk getting beat up easily.
No. I mean, but I will tell you this, just to play devil's advocate. The antagonist in this film, the Abomination, when he was first, when he was first created, he was actually birthed strong, much stronger than the Hulk. And in the original comic book version, Banner had to build a ray to shoot him with to downgrade his strength, to nerf his strength, so the Hulk could,
Yep.
beat him. Yeah. So the Hulk getting kind of thrown around by the Abomination in this film kind of made sense. Well, at least to me. I do
I
understand
no,
where you're coming from. You go ahead.
no, I completely enjoyed the fight between them because it was a dynamic of Hulk rage. But that's what it is. It's Hulk has to be beaten up in some way until he gets angry, and then it's no holds barred. Good luck to you. You shouldn't have done what you did.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna say this: when it comes to the fighting, it makes sense for Hulk to be thrown around a little bit because at the end of the day, you got one version of the Hulk that's not a military trained fighter, and the other version, the Abomination, was a military trained fighter. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? So
Yes. I'm glad.
it depends on how much of your mindset you keep as you're the Hulk. But it made sense that this Hulk was going, well, this Abomination was definitely going to give Hulk some serious trouble. It just made perfect sense what they did.
Oh, okay, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was kind of the beef between the military and the Hulk. Well, at least the focal military characters like General Ross and Emil Blonsky, they felt like power like that did not belong in Banner's hands, and the whole point was to catch the Hulk and to extract it from Banner so they could use it for military experiments, to make
But it was
themselves
hate.
strong. Yes,
But it was hate. That's what we
yeah,
come
yeah,
down to. They was hating on the Hulk.
yeah. There was hate. There was hate. I mean,
If I
because
were, which one of these had the Easter egg for Dr. Samson, for Doc Samson? Was it this one or was it the
yeah,
first one?
it was this one. It was this one. The actor, the Modern Family actor. His name escapes me. I said I was gonna look that name up before I came on the air. He was Doc Samson. Now there was no way. Now me personally, there was no way I could see this guy as Doc Samson. Even with
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not at all.
Mm.
But
Yeah, that would have been a role they would have nerded up Brad Pitt for or something.
yeah, but I will say this: they probably could have sold that guy, and I forgot his name too. See, I should be looking up names. The guy that played Samuel Stearns, the one that put Banner on the table and then put Blonsky on the table to become the Abomination. That was Samuel Stearns. Samuel Stearns in the comic book, he's a gamma powered being called the Leader, but his brain is gamma powered. So he's like just he's like the Hulk's greatest enemy.
Yeah, he's a genius. So what he ends up doing is he clones the Hulk. He creates a bunch of knockoffs. I think he's one of the smartest people. He's top five, if I believe, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
the Marvel comic book universe.
along with people like Modok and Egghead and Mole Man, like the smart, he's among the top smart villains, like up there with Octavius, and I think he might be smarter than Octavius, Doctor Octopus.
He's smarter than Octavius, but I don't think he's Doom level.
No, and I hear that Victor Von Doom is on his way to the MCU, and like that's one guy I really want to see come, but. The leader, they gave a lot of things in this film that set it up for like a trilogy if the deal hadn't gone down with Disney, and because I think the plan at first was to do a Marvel shared universe, and with the appearance of Tony Stark and the mention of Shield, that was totally in the direction it was headed. But then Disney brought out the rights, and then there were casting changes. So this Hulk also is a one timer, just like Ang Lee's Hulk. Yeah.
Well, no. This is the thing. What the whole plan was to do the shared universe. It's just it was just a rights issue, and what movie goers have to understand, there's companies that have different rights to different characters at different times, even though they're all Marvel characters. The MCU wanted to do more with Hulk, but because of the contractual agreement they already had with Universal, they can't put Hulk in a solo film right now. That's the whole thing. He cannot be in a solo film, so they got to use him as best they can in other films.
Yes,
And to me, that makes Universal look silly because there's a lot of money to be made if you just work with the MCU. Kevin Feige and those who run Marvel Studios have proven themselves to be able to make great films. Just work with the people and let's get some more happening. To me, they're very silly for not doing so.
yeah, but
Yeah, it's all about the dollar at the bottom line. They all want to make so much money from these films, and if Marvel collapses, they still own the character. They still can kind of go out and do what they want to, whether the movie a flop or not. They still gonna make some money.
yeah. That's
Well, it's gonna be a flop now because who wants to see a Hulk film outside of the MCU? I don't think too much anybody does at this point.
I mean, it's a kind of a long shot, without the direction of the MCU, and plus the plans that I hear the MCU has for the character now. I should hope they will stay with the MCU. And they're able to bring that all the other characters, like the Abomination, for instance. I think because of the rights issue, the Abomination was not able to appear in the MCU. In the MCU continuity of films. They were able to get General Ross, but they weren't able to use Betty, I think, as well. So some characters they can use, some characters can't. That's why you had the Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson on screen kind of thing between the Hulk and Black Widow because
Black Widow, yeah.
there was no Betty around.
Yeah, I mean it would make sense. They probably have run a lot of these characters into the dirt, and they couldn't use a lot of them. Like you couldn't use Betty. Betty would have made it more sense for her to be acknowledged in the MCU, but they left her out. We got Garrett, General Ross. He came in. The Thunderbolts came in. So they've got plans for the Thunderbolts. I've heard legend of a Red Hulk making his way in. It's going to be interesting to see.
Oh yeah, Red Hulk. I would love to see another Gamma Power being in the MCU. I mean, oh yeah, and by the way, besides another Gamma Power being, She Hulk was just cast for her Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my thing is they have so much room to go in so many great directions, and because I already know that they can't do a Hulk solo film unless they get into an agreement with Universal, I'm gonna take it as a blessing in disguise because it's gonna be great to see the Hulk dealing with other people around and looking at what his power levels are compared to other people's. To me, it's gonna make for interesting stories. Would I like to see a Hulk film on his own? Sure, but if they put one out and it's not inside of the MCU, am I gonna support it? No. And,
Okay.
and honestly, I even think not to go too far off subject, but I do believe Spider-Man's gonna run into trouble too because they're trying to make Spider-Man movies that are outside of the MCU. So, I, I to me, the MCU has it locked up. Hulk was a great film, in my opinion, from beginning to end. Uh, I, I I get why they put the uh, the origin story in the opening credits because it's so known about how he became the Hulk. It's such common knowledge at this point, and the way they handled the film because they separated the Hulk from Betty, which makes sense as we go further along in the MCU, and he's now dealing with Black Widow because Betty's like a kind of a distant memory at this particular point. So it all works and makes sense.
Distant,
I'm glad they're doing it the way they're doing.
distant memory to almost non-existent. Now, the origin story I would like to see handled one day, translated to film, but everybody's tired of origin stories, I know. But I want to see a bomb blow up and he become the Hulk that way. They gone with the soft version on the on the Eric Bana film, and they went with the soft version on this one, and they didn't even show it for the MCU because Mark. This is actually supposed to be the story that it is the Mark Ruffalo Hulk. Now, this casting. I just want to take a minute to talk about casting, then we'll talk about how this stacks up, and then we'll end it. Casting Ed Norton. What happened with Ed Norton?
He's the
Edward
prima
Norton.
donna.
Oh, the prima donna, the diva.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
prima donna. He's known for it. He's habitually on the show being extra, on set being problematic. So it's hard for people who want to work with him. So I would imagine that's the reason they got rid of him, but it could be more.
yeah,
Uh,
rumors have it that he was guaranteed he'll have certain ideas that were going to go across. So he'll have certain levels of control. And my thing is, as an actor, how much control over a film do you really want? I'm not saying people should have some interest in control over the work that they're actually doing, but you do got to you got to remember this is a film. The people who are putting the film together are going in a certain direction. So every idea you have, even if you play the character, is not necessarily going to fit into the whole of the story. And because Marvel Studios started out trying to make a shared universe, there are certain directions that people just have to go in. And if you don't go in that direction, you don't fit. So I thought Edward Norton was a good Hulk, but I'm not mad at Mark Ruffalo either for replacing him. He was a good. Edward Norton was a good Hulk in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He was a good Hulk. I could see him continue to play the Hulk. He made a great Hulk in my opinion. But I ain't mad that Mark Ruffalo replaced him either because there's only so much control you can have when you're in a shared universe. It's not like it was just a Hulk solo movie that wasn't connected to anything else.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, it's true. I enjoyed Ed Norton. I really did, and had it been a singular franchise, I think that would have been the way to go. Mark Ruffalo's doing a good job, but Ed Norton, if it had been a solo string of films, that's where I would have liked to have seen it go. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, and yeah, not mad at Mark Ruffalo, but I mean, it is what it is. It's spilled milk now. And Mark Ruffalo, to me, he brought another dimension, a more lighthearted, comical dimension to the Hulk. But me personally, with this character, I want to see a raging monster. I want to see World War Hulk. I want to see World Breaker. I want to see those Hulks. I want to see the Maestro. That's the Hulk I want to see. There's a rumor that the Maestro might actually be on his way to the MCU, which we can only hope. But anyway, we
Bring
we
Ang Lee back, give him an unlimited budget. We're
yeah
good to go. Go ahead.
yeah, but now we're going to talk about where this stands. Now, our last rankings, we've already ranked Iron Man, we've already ranked Captain Marvel, and we already ranked Captain America: The First Avenger. So what we're dealing with now is Iron Man is at number one, Captain America: The First Avenger is at number two, and Captain Marvel is at number three. Now, with the Hulk being added to the movies, does that change for any of the films? Now, we already discussed this, and I'll just go ahead and let the cat out the bag. Um, the Hulk is number three. So now the ranking changes for Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel now moves to number four. So now this is one that we all agreed on. Let's just get verbal confirmation from you guys.
Oh yeah. We all agreed to these before we come on there, and oh well, go ahead, Dan. You gonna get your little agreement out there, Dylan.
Listen, Captain Marvel is trash, so it's always going to be at the bottom for me. The one that might take it is Thor. Thor one. Thor one might
Hey,
move to the bottom.
we gonna get into all that when we get to that. I don't agree with that statement that Captain Marvel is trash, but when it comes down to these four particular movies, um, I don't know how people can't like Iron Man, especially for what it kicked off. But even before you knew it was kicking off something, to me it was a very different superhero movie at the time. So I fell in love with it right away. Captain America is was a very impressive superhero. They had a great storyline, um, great love interest type thing going on as well with all the action and explaining the character. So that's why I saw it as a good number two. So it really, for me, it came down to Hulk and Captain Marvel because I couldn't see the Hulk overtaking Captain America or Iron Man. So when it comes down to Captain America, excuse me, Captain Marvel and Hulk, um, I just think well before I knew it, the way the origin was done for Captain Marvel, I really didn't like how they did it, where she was already the hero, but they kept trying to dip back to show how she became the hero. So now I just feel like origin stories should be told more from beginning to end versus they're already a hero and we're gonna give you flashbacks so you can figure out how she became a hero. So I didn't like that whole deal. So that's why I got to give it to Hulk. It was a better through storyline for me.
I would knock Captain Marvel down to number four because Hulk is just to me has more rewatchability. I've watched this film many times, as compared to Captain Marvel, only watching it when I kind of have to when other people are around. It's not the first thing that I press play on, but the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, yeah, I'll stop and watch it. It's not the best MCU film, but it's definitely a fun rewatch. It's above Captain Marvel. Now it's below Captain America because for the biggest reason being that Captain America, the first Avenger, the way the story was set up, it established that it was just too important to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even more so than the Incredible Hulk. It was a better story. It had important characters like Peggy Carter, Howard Stark, the Red Skull. It introduced the Tesseract. It was way too much important things, too many important things in Captain America: The First Avenger for the Hulk to have taken that spot. So the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, right now sits at number three, and but will any of these movies be able to maintain next week when we do our MCU Infinity 23 discussion on Iron Man 2? Yes, the second in the Tony Stark trilogy is our next show. And fellas, what do you think?
Well, I can't wait to watch it, but because we just so y'all the audience knows, we rewatching all these films before we ranking them. So I'm just gonna leave it. I can't wait to rewatch that film because that was a very good film. I definitely want to get into that, and I want to also throw out there that since you were talking about what Captain America brought to the later on in the MCU, the Winter Soldier was also in there too. That was critical. And then with the fact that they had the Howling Commandos and their relationship with Captain America, that kind of mattered to me because when you take Captain America later on down the road, he's totally without his friends and things. So that's impactful to me,
Oh yeah,
especially on him as a person and as a character.
and Bucky. Let's not forget Bucky.
Yeah, get into it, Bucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but I can't wait to see Iron Man 2. I'm ready to get that knocked down too.
Okay.
Yeah, I watch Iron Man 2 often. So to be honest with me, I like Iron Man 2 more so than Iron Man
Wait,
1.
whoa, say something for that big bro. Don't
I
get all over
already
that.
see.
I watch
I already know what kind of
this
show it's
movie
gonna be
often.
next week. Oh man.
I watch this show often. So
Okay,
it's
brother.
one of the movies I watch often. Again,
Okay.
often.
Oh
Okay,
man.
well, I guess that's
So
gonna
we
hold
might have
you
to
for
battle
a
that
while.
one out.
We do argue about this stuff off air, folks. So yeah, it's gonna get
yeah.
its proper spot, but
Oh
we
yeah.
ain't gonna let Donnie take over.
Yeah, it's
I
definitely
mean,
gonna be in the top spot. Numero uno. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. That mean Iron Man gonna be popping. Iron Man 2 gonna be popping. Yeah. So can't wait for that. Y'all got me excited on that one. So anyway, this is it. This is the Black Dimension. This is our MCU Infinity 23, where we rank each one of the 23 MCU films that are make up the Infinity Saga. As we end this broadcast, once again, Iron Man maintains the number one spot. Number two is maintained by Captain America: The First Avenger, but the Incredible Hulk has taken the number three spot, and Captain Marvel has dropped to number four. So we'll see what happens next week. This is Kev. Anything else, fellas?
Long live the habitual line steppers. We'll see y'all next time around.
All right. Peace.
Love and hair groups. I'll let y'all later.
All right, and this is Kev. You've been pulled into the Black Dimension, and good luck finding your way out.